Now, have you noticed there's a bit of a trend these days towards what I'd call attitude bikes? You've got Yamaha's phenomenal Phaser, you've got the good old Suzuki Bandit, you've got Harley's Big Buell, you've got Triumph's Speed Triple, but now you've also got this, Cagiva's V-Raptor. It's certainly attention-grabbing, a sort of praying mantis meets Mad Max, an alien bike, not of this world. Or is it simply a different spin on the monster concept? Well, it's not surprising because it was styled by the same guy who styled Ducati's Monster. But first, I'm going to take this jacket off. It's one of those rare, nice days, this is. And so look, you're not going to be surprised down here. See this trellis frame? Very similar to the Monster. Bigger tubes, big and beefy, but you can see the sort of styling cue off there. But the engine's not Ducati, it's a Suzuki, and it's the TL1000S, the big V-twin motor. And see down there, it says Cagiva. Well, don't believe it, that's just a bit of badge engineering. It's all Suzuki in there. Inside though, there are a few changes. The motor's retuned for more torque with slightly lower power, but it still gives out 98 brake horse from the fuel-injected motor. And it spreads it over a very wide rev range, meaning it happily pumps out loads of V-twin grunt, taking you to 140 plus. That's if you can hack it and if you're hard enough. Because this, down here, is not a fairing. It's a little nose cone, mounting the headlight obviously, mounting the indicators either side, and the speedo and all the rest of it. And see these big sort of insect antennas up the top here. Carbon fibre look, but it's not carbon fibre, it's plastic textured. And they're not air tubes as a Kawasaki used to be. They're purely for decoration, give it that sort of styling cue on there. And then also this sharp edge styling from the front here, because it's all about style, this bike is. See these edges? It's this modern edge styling that they use on the Ford Focus and a few other cars. And the Aprilia's Futura. And it comes along the edge there. The tank is shaped like that as well. The tail's similar, so it's all on the edge. But if you look at it from a rider's point of view, where I'm sitting now and looking down, look at that strange rev counter up there, triangular shaped thing. But again, that edge styling. But it looks sort of 1930s, doesn't it? Beneath it though, you've got some modern technology, little digital display there, gives you the speedo and a couple of trip counters, also the oil temperature. And up above there, you've got the normal idiot lights for the fuel and ignition and all the rest of it. Coming back on the bars, very, very wide bars, wide and flat, and quite a nice aggressive feel to them, and decent mirrors. They don't vibrate either, but you get it, even though this has got this edge triangular styling, you've got a good vision at the back there, and you need it. Nice tree I can see over there. But look at this tank. Looking down on the top of it, it's very wide at the front, and the important thing is it's all plastic, so no good for a tank bag, but again, one of those plastic tanks with some neat mouldings in it, and that's what you can get away with plastic. But it's not all style and no substance. As I've said, the engine is Suzuki's well-proven lump, and it comes complete with a slick 6-speed gearbox too. And it's got a tad lower gearing than the TLS, so it's certainly motors. Punching out of corners and short shifting, it really does feel alive. And all this is going on in a very competent chassis. Nothing exceptional, but it does its job well. The suspension itself is non-adjustable except for the rear preload, so it might feel a bit soft to some, but in the real world, it copes fine. Now, as you might have noticed, this looks a pretty low bike, and it is, well, at least seat height-wise, because it's 770mm. Now, that's 30mm lower than a Monster, and it's a whole 50mm lower than Yamaha's new 1000 Phaser. And when you think this is a 1000 bike as well, so I thought it might be a little bit cramped for me. 6'2" on this. I thought, how am I going to wrap myself around this? But look, it's not bad. The footrests are reasonably well back. Angle of the leg might look a bit acute, but it doesn't feel it. And with these bars, you tip slightly forward, so it's quite comfortable. You're into the breeze there. It gives a nice feel to it. What else have we got on it bike? Keep the old stand down. Down the front end, we've got the good old Brembos. We're so familiar with these, aren't we? Brembos, 298mm discs, got braided hoses, which is a nice touch on it. Nothing special here, engine and radiator and all the rest of it. But see these little styling cues continuing through the bike. I reckon if Batman had a bike, he'd probably have one of these. See all these little spikes here? And look at these beneath the pillion footrest. See those little spikes? Looks very, very odd. There, while I'm here, carbon fibre, genuine carbon fibre there, wrapping both silencers. But this seat, talking about the pillion rests, it is in fact a dual seat. This cowl, which I won't take off now, it's only a couple of pins underneath. Under the pins, take off this cowling here with this bump stop, and so you've got a proper dual seat there and your pillion passenger perch there. But I'll tell you, one of the neatest things that I like on this, styling wise, there's nothing extravagant about this, is this swinging arm. It really does look a work of art. Call me a bit sad, anorak wise, but look at that. It's a beautiful job. Nice little plate there to protect the finish on the swing arm, and look at that end cap there, adjusters there, really neat. What's also neat is that it's relatively light at 192 kilo. That's the same as a Monster, but it's lighter than a Phaser Thou or a Speed Triple. So if you want to be different and you're into radical styling, then here it is. And at £7,149 on the road, it's got the added attraction of being just about the cheapest litre bike you can get.